Media Network News Live. I'm Kylie Gahn. On Wednesday, the fifth and final finalist was announced for Fort Hays State University President Dr. Tom Jackson Jr. currently serves as Vice President for Student Affairs at the University of Louisville. Jackson's first public appearance was on Wednesday in the receptions hall in the Robins Center and a news conference following earlier today.
Virginia, because I thought to myself, here I am, this little boy from Seattle, Washington, now on the other side of the United States. I remember literally walking out, touching the water with a big smile and saying, I did it. I made it to the other side of the United States. And that was such a big thing. I'm the Vice President for Student Affairs at the University of Louisville. Louisville is a fantastic university. It's a major research university, obviously located in Louisville, Kentucky. We're very well known for our research agenda, our cancer research, our sports teams, and Tom Jackson's. I know Fort Hays is known for some Tom Jacksons. The other Tom Jackson in Louisville lore is the one that you usually see on ESPN.
Jackson is one of 5 candidates that will have been brought to campus from a search that began months ago following the announcement of the retirement of current Fort Hays State University President Edward Hammond this June. For more information as it develops and for the full press conference, visit the TMN website. Tuesday night, the Fort Hays State University Student Government Association presidential debate was held in the Robins Center, where current SGA President Chris Roberts is running for re-election along with Senator Aaron Powers as his vice presidential candidate, and Treasurer Brandon Taylor is running for SGA President with Senator Grant Rogers as his vice presidential candidate. The full video is available on the TMN website. Do you believe in magic? On Tuesday, the University Activities Board presented magician Peter Bowie, Magic for Non-Believers. Peter first became fascinated with magic at the age of 11 when he stumbled across a magic book at his local library. He now travels around the country performing his award-winning magic that will defy your reality. Peter's show is about 2 things, astonishing magic and having a good time.
In one middle, you bring your 2 ends together, you can very easily find the middle. You know what though? I misled you in the beginning. I'm sorry. I said all pieces of rope have 2 ends and 1 middle. What about those ends without middles? And what about those middles without ends? Think about that. Like these ends in this middle. This is an endless rope. It has no ends. Pam, open your eyes with your left hand. Point to where it felt like something touched you. Your right shoulder. How many times did you feel it? Twice. Pam, I didn't.
In case you missed the show, you can view Peter Bowie and his fascinating magic on his website and social media pages on the link below. Tuesday, President Hammond gave a press conference about the merging of Dodge City Community College and Fort Hays State University.
So any graduate of St. Mary's Des Plaines that needs a transcript or needs verification that they were enrolled or anything like that comes to Fort Hays, and our registrar's office produces that for St. Mary's Des Plaines just like they produce it for any of our graduates. Formal event at Dodge City Country Club or something. The whole issue of a 4-year presence in Dodge City in southwest Kansas has been discussed. So it's not a new topic. It's a topic that's been around for over 20 years. In the late...
For the full press conference speech, visit the TMN website. This week, the Women's Leadership Project is hosting the event Rise of the Girl Week. The event is regarding a world revolution that cannot be stopped. This month, Girl Rising, a film about 9 women around the world, present their story and how they keep moving on to make a difference. Fort Hays State University Jazz Band is performing a concert at 7:30 in the Beach Schmidt Performing Arts Center tonight. The concert is free for students with their Tiger card. This Friday, faculty recital will have trombone player Lane Weaver and piano player Irina Ravitskaya at Palmer Hall on the campus of Fort Hays State University. The performance is scheduled to start at 7:30 p.m. and is free to students with their Tiger card. On Saturday, Encore will present Step Africa. Step Africa is one of the first presidential companies in the world that dedicate their performances to stepping. Founded in 1994, the company serves as a cultural ambassador for the United States, representing festivals around the world. Step Africa has been performed all across the world and competes in a 50-city tour of American colleges and universities from Maine to Mississippi. Tickets start out for students at $17 and general admission starts out at $26. To purchase tickets, call the number below. Correction to the Greek Week Awards banquet from Tuesday's newscast. The Interfraternity Council Awards are: the highest new member GPA went to Sigma Phi Epsilon, highest active member GPA, Sigma Phi Epsilon, highest overall GPA, Sigma Phi Epsilon, outstanding community service, Sigma Chi, and the Dr. Edward Hammond Outstanding Fraternity member went to Luke Abbott. The Panhellenic Council Awards are: the highest new member GPA went to Alpha Gamma Delta, highest active member GPA, Alpha Gamma Delta, highest overall GPA, Alpha Gamma Delta, outstanding community involvement and service, Delta Zeta, and Dr. Edward Hammond Outstanding Sorority member went to Carly McCracken. And the Joint Council Awards are Greek Week champion, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, Outstanding Greek Alumni Award, Jason Willoughby, Outstanding Faculty and Staff Recognition, Becky Peterson, and the Dr. Erb Songer Outstanding Chapter of the Year went to Alpha Gamma Delta. That'll do it for news for today. Up next, sports with Luke Weber.
This is Timmy. He's a smart boy that treats others well. Like all young boys, Timmy enjoys a good candy bar. Wait, what's happening now? Did Johnny just take your candy? Well, that wasn't very nice of him, was it, Timmy? Let's show Johnny how a respectful young man should act. What do you say, Timmy? Where'd you go, Timmy? Oh, looks like they're patching things up quite nicely.
Be courteous. It's not that hard.
Gee, mister, really?
In our top sports stories today, the Fort Hays State baseball team lost against Drury State Panthers 22-11. Fort Hays State kept up with the Panthers through the first 3 innings, increasing the gap in the last 2 innings. The team will play a 4-game stretch at Southwest Baptist this weekend, and in football news, the Fort Hays State team will take to the field this Saturday for the annual spring game. The game is a chance to let some rookie players get some experience and give coaches some time to evaluate the players. The game begins at 2 p.m. That's your Fort Hays State sports for this week. Stay tuned for Around Town, our community affairs segment with Bridget Marquis.
College should be a time for fresh starts and exciting new adventures, but for some, it's not. New studies find that bullying does not end when students go to college. In fact, 15% of college students reported still being bullied. If you or somebody you know is being bullied, don't be afraid to tell somebody. Contact a trusted professor, administration member, or the Kelly Center for help and advice. Together, we can put an end to bullying.
Dude, I'm so drunk right now.
That party was awesome.
Hey, are you still coming to this party?
My girlfriend's in there. I'm way too drunk for this right now.
Really? Who cares? Just, how about you go drive around? I'm going in.
Yeah, I gotta go sit.
All right, dude. Hello. Who's this? He's in the hospital? All right, I'll be there in a minute.
Think before you drink and designate a driver. week for Around Town, we are talking to Dr. Gary Brinker about the Docking Institute at Fort Hays State University. Hello, Gary. I would just like to start things off with talking about the history of the Docking Institute. Can you kind of give us a brief summary of what that's about?
Sure. It was started up by who was Provost Gould in 1980, and then it was called the Fort Hays State University Institute of Public Affairs. In 1989, they renamed it in honor of some governors here in Kansas. Governor George Docking, and then his son, Governor Robert Docking, and then also his son, who was Lieutenant Governor Thomas Docking. Wow. Interestingly, his wife is currently running for the running mate of Paul Davis for governor. Will be running against Governor Brownback this fall.
Very interesting. So it has some political ties as well. And how did it look when it first started as compared to now? Is there any differences that have been instituted?
Mostly just the size and the scope of what we do. Since then, we've increased the staff, the diversity of the staff. We've got people in 3 different academic disciplines now, and so mainly just, we've just increased what we do, both the quantity and the variety.
Gotcha. So how did you become a part of it? Because I understand you're not a native of Hays, so how do you get tied up in the Docking Institute?
I went work at Missouri State University after I finished my education, serving a similar role there at a research center that wasn't as well supported, and got frustrated, read about the position, and checked into it and found out that President Hammond was provided a whole lot more support, which has enabled me to sort of broaden my horizons and do some different kind of research and greatly increase the quantity of the work that I'm doing now.
That's great. So he saw it as more of a priority where Missouri didn't.
Exactly, yes.
This wasn't essential.
President Hammond understands the value of research centers like that, and he supports us quite well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, people can hear research, but I don't think they really know what that means. What does the Docking Institute do?
Well, we focus, our primary clients are organizations in the nonprofits that basically just try and do good things for society. And then we also help government agencies, mostly the state agencies. We do different types of research that is tailored to their particular needs, mostly.
Wow, that's great. So what is entailed in the Docking Institute? Because I understand that it's not just the Docking Institute. You have a research section, and then what else is in there?
We do. We have, of course, the main center. We use a few student researchers that help us, that we do a lot of the research that doesn't require surveys, but then we also, surveys is a big part of what we do. We occasionally do paper surveys, of course, with modern technology. Mostly what we're doing are telephone surveys and online surveys. So a big variety of survey research. We do labor studies, where we try and what we call a labor basin, a region will come to us and have us assess the type of labor, the labor availability, and they use that to present to companies that want to move into the area, and they can show, look, we've got people that want jobs, they've got the skills that you need, they'll work for the pay that you'll pay them. So labor studies, migration studies, as you know, Western Kansas is experienced a big problem without migration, so we do research for that. Strategic planning is another big thing we do, where we help an organization realize what their resources are. We help them outline specifically what their goals are, and we set them up to sort of a process of accomplishing those goals.
Wow, so it really does contribute a lot more than people would think. Like, could you name some specific projects that the Docking Institute is involved with that do directly affect people, the information that people
Sure. An interesting one we're doing is we got a contract to actually help evaluate all of the judges in Arizona, and they chose us particularly because we were kind of distant, and they knew none of our workers had any firsthand experience with these judges. we might bias the results, but basically they distribute survey forms that get mailed to us, and we process them, and we prepare reports on each of the judges that are then presented to the voters so they can read about whether they want to re-elect this judge or not.
Wow.
We're also doing a couple of community needs assessment surveys for a couple of communities here in Kansas, which is largely a survey research where we try and assess what are the needs of what needs are not being met in the community. And then finally, in 2009, we started doing a sort of a pro bono statewide public opinion survey we call Kansas Speaks, where we basically take a representative sample of Kansans and we measure their opinions of state lawmakers. We measure their opinions on legislation, controversial legislation that's being passed, of which there has been a lot lately.
Yes, there has.
So yeah, we've had plenty to do with Kansas Speaks, and we're really proud because we actually got our survey cited in the New York Times op-ed.
Really?
Right. They were doing a story on gun control, and our Kansas Speaks showed actually that the majority of Kansans do not want guns to be allowed in public buildings and schools.
That's crazy because we just allowed that on campus.
Exactly, the legislature just passed that. So it's really interesting when you can kind of compare what legislation's being passed with what are the policies that Kansans really want.
Yeah, so you really get to hear the voice of the people overall.
Absolutely, and that's why we call it Kansas Speaks.
Aptly named.
We think so.
And are you in need of people to join the survey center or research part of it? Could you just let us know, is there any wants, needs that the survey center
We actually are. Survey research kind of ebbs and wanes, but we're actually on one of those times when we're getting quite busy, and so yes, we are hiring survey researchers right now.
Okay, and let's just hit on a few perks. Like, I know the pay is a lot better than most campus jobs that you can find. Isn't that right?
Well, it's a little bit better. We start them out at the regular base rate, but then once they've shown us that they have the skills and performance characteristics, then we make them full-time interviewers and bump their salary up a couple of dollars.
Gotcha. So
which is
we're looking at $9 an hour.
$9 an hour, which doesn't get a lot these days, but actually we're quite constrained on what we're allowed to pay our students because we're all state employees.
Gotcha. But the job is available in the summer for everybody who wants to know. Is that true? Yes?
It is, yes. We'll be doing surveying through the summer, so any students that need summer jobs, they need to go to JobX and find that job and apply for it.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's all the time we have for today, but if
Okay.
anybody's interested in those jobs, please fill out an application. And now it's back to Kylie and Luke at the news desk. Thank you so much, Gary.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Bridget. So, Luke, are you planning on going to the Step Africa performance they have coming up?
Kylie, I think I might actually try to get out to it. It seems really interesting.
I think it would be a very intriguing performance, and the stepping methods that they do and everything, I think that'd be really cool. Well, thanks for watching. This has been Kylie Gahn.
And Luke Weber.
Have a good night.